Attention business owners and independent contractors. This is a money-saving message from Tax Mediation Services. If your business owes $20,000 or more in taxes, we can help you today, right now. Listen, dealing with the IRS is no picnic. It's an intimidating and extremely stressful process, and you don't want to go it alone. Our attorneys know every law, every tax break, and every possible opportunity to help you resolve and reduce your tax debt. And if you owe more than $20,000, you may be at the top of their hit list. So don't take your tax debt lightly, because it will not go away on its own. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, your home, and even shut down your business. Call our tax experts today at 1-800-783-0810 and let us deal with the IRS while you focus on your business. That's 1-800-783-0810. Again, that's 800-783-0810.
Hi, I'm Mike, founder of DollarShaveClub.com. What is DollarShaveClub.com? Well, for $1 a month, we send high-quality razors right to your door. Yeah, $1. Are the blades any good? No. Our blades are f***ing great. Each razor has stainless steel blades, an aloe vera lubricating strip, and a pivot head. It's so gentle a toddler could use it. And do you like spending $20 a month on brand name razors? 19 go to Roger Federer. I'm good at tennis. And do you think your razor needs a vibrating handle, a flashlight, a back scratcher, and 10 blades? Your handsome-ass grandfather had 1 blade and polio. Looking good, pop-up! Stop paying for shave tech you don't need. And stop forgetting to buy your blades every month. Alejandro and I are going to ship them right to you. We're not just selling razors, we're also making new jobs. Alejandro, what were you doing last month?
Not working.
What are you doing now?
Working.
I'm no Vanderbilt, but this train makes hay. So stop forgetting to buy your blades every month and start deciding where you're going to stack all those dollar bills I'm saving you. We are DollarShaveClub.com, and the party is on.
I know karate, I know jiu-jitsu, I drive like a gangster when I'm coming to see you, see you.
You are listening to KLRN Radio, where liberty and reason still reign.
Not to be a backseat driver, but can you say for sure you got the best monthly payment possible on your auto loan? Could it be that you might have gotten a better deal by shopping the loan at a few places and have a lower car payment? Next time, before you go car shopping, visit Communication Federal Credit Union first. Our auto loan experts will find you a perfect loan and get you the lowest monthly payment we can. Communication Federal, your auto loan experts. Restrictions apply. Federally insured by NCUA.
In uncertain times, we could use someone to lean on. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma will stand by you with plan options to fit your budget. If you've recently lost your job, had a baby, or moved, you can still get the healthcare coverage you and your family need. Financial help may be available for those who qualify. Call 855-452-BLUE or visit hereforyouok.com to see if you're eligible to enroll. Blue Cross and Blue Shield of Oklahoma, a division of Healthcare Service Corporation, a mutual legal reserve company.
Tired of paying outrageous prices for Viagra? Well, we have great news for you. Now you can finally get Viagra at huge discounts. Healthy Man allows you to save up to $500 on Viagra. Why pay U.S. pharmacy prices of $15 per pill or more when you can get Viagra for less than $3 a pill? Call today and get 40 Viagra pills for only $99. This can cost as much as $600 at your local pharmacy. You can't afford not to call us. If you want Viagra at the lowest prices, never pay $15 a pill pharmacy prices again. Get Viagra for less than $3 a pill. Call 1-800-516-7602 today and save up to $500 and get 40 pills for just $99. Healthy Man is fast, easy, and affordable. Operators are waiting at 1-800-516-7602 to take your call right now. Call 1-800-516-7602. That's 1-800-516-7602. Again, 1-800-516-7602.
The following program may contain coarse language, adult themes, and host drinking copious amounts of wine. Listener discretion is advised.
Good evening, everyone. This is Diane from the Red Whine, joined by the wonderful Daralyn.
Hello, everybody.
So Daralyn and I, for like the first time in probably a very long time, didn't speak at all today. So this could be a very interesting conversation.
Well, we lost the district attorney's race here on the Cape. We haven't had a Democrat district attorney since 1970, but we've already added a little bit of flavor. One of the potential assistant district attorneys had the tables turned on her. She turned the tables on others. She was tased.
Tased?
She was tased. She was tased by, if you want, I'll give you a brief reading of the report. And I think this is funny. So, are you aware of what a Brady list is? A Brady list is if you're found to have purposely misled facts, otherwise lied, or lied on an affidavit lied with facts to put on an affidavit, which would give you a search warrant to search someone's home, and you did it purposely and knowingly that what you put forth was false, you'll be put on the Brady list, which basically establishes you as having zero credibility. However, the Plymouth District Attorney's Office, where Kathleen Flannery works, and by the looks of her, neither one of us want to roll around with her. I mean, put a couple drinks in her, and the word tough broad comes to mind, but I'll read a little to of. On November 22nd, Officer Corbett, was assigned to uniform patrol on a Mark State police cruiser when he was dispatched to a central address for a verbal domestic. This is where it gets tricky. Upon my arrival, I was met at the front door of the residence, where I was met by a female party who agreed to step and speak to me in the driveway. The female party appeared to be very upset, and she was visibly shaking and crying, and reportedly stated to me, "I'm worried about the safety of my daughter being inside with her." Now, here's the tricky part. I returned to the front door and was met by the female party's daughter. I guided the daughter out of the residence. At this time, the female party's ex-husband came outside from a separate garage apartment on the premises and stated he would take care of assuming it's his, I don't know, daughter for the time being. Well, apparently, the female party had been arguing, the female party with her ex-husband who lives on the property, stated that she was fighting with her fiance, Kathleen Flannery, the assistant district attorney in Plymouth, who was still inside the home in Centerville. So
all in the family brings a whole new meaning.
I mean, I suppose if they had a great relationship and all of a sudden, I'm sure it wasn't all of a sudden, but she decided, I'm lesbian and, you're a great guy and thanks for the child. And we're going to co-parent the child and live on the same property. Probably, okay, fine. But I'll tell you, if it had been a heterosexual couple, I don't think, gay and lesbian have this great affinity for being able to stay friends after they break up because it's such a small community.
Right.
Which, I think is wonderful. A lot of the, gay girls that I know, they'll be like, oh, this is so-and-so, and she used to date her, and she used to live. I'm like, what? And I said, how do you do that? I mean, because jealousy is jealousy. I don't care, male or female. Yeah, right. And that's what they said, that the community is so small that you really can't extricate yourself from it. So we learned to live with it. But all right, so let me get on with this. As I spoke with Flannery in an attempt to ascertain what was going on, she repeatedly told me to call a detective in Yarmouth who could help her. Don't you know who I am? I stated to Flannery that I was simply trying to figure out what was going on. And she said, is this document going to be documented? And it would go on a record? Because she's currently applying for a job at the Barnstable District Attorney's Office. So this was erroneously claimed to be the first assistant for the District Attorney-elect Rob Galliboy, but it's not. It's simply an assistant district attorney, she would not be in a leadership position, but I wonder if she would even be an attorney after this. I don't know. But she says that they had, some pushing and grabbing, and she says, "You're not arresting me. I'm going to be an ADA working with you." He took control of her wrist, and she repeatedly told Flannery to stop resisting. And then, kind of a little fight ensued, right? She was thrashing violently with both, and they tased her. So she was telling him, "I am not under arrest." Continue thrashing her arms and legs. Upon reaching my cruiser, Flannery immediately stating, "You cannot put me in there." As soon as I opened the door, another patrolman, Brown, nice guy, attempted to put Flannery in the rear of the cruiser and said, "Get in the car." And they were able to physically assist her in the car, but however, her legs were still outside the vehicle and she started kicking them. So she kept saying that we can't arrest her. So due to her noncompliance, someone else came and drew her taser, and there you go. She yelled, "You can't tase me." Well, I'll tell you.
I would have loved to have heard what she said after they tased her, because she probably would be like, "You can't tase me."
When I was in the academy, you could volunteer to be tased. No, thank you. It was just all of a sudden someone becomes. You would think they would drop right to the ground, but they look like a piece of wood, like a shaking piece of wood. And so the stun drive gun had immediate effect, and Flannery put her legs inside the cruiser. So it's amazing how that happens.
I know.
And, I'm sorry that, she obviously has a drinking problem. She was at one of the, local establishments down here. But you have to understand that, well, I don't know if she understands now. First of all, I don't think Rob Galliboy is going to take that. I mean, he's a Democrat. Aside from that, I can't imagine that he would still employ her. I mean,
really?
I'll be very disappointed if he does. I think she would have to have a huge Democrat dime. How do you have any credibility left? You have to go be a tax attorney now. Sorry.
Well, I mean, if she, granted, is that considered a misdemeanor, or?
You attacked a police officer.
Okay, so maybe it's not a misdemeanor, but if she's charged and convicted, that should immediately disqualify her, period, from being an assistant district attorney.
So say.
But you don't know when it comes to the Democrats, they seem to promote and reward when, for most bad behavior anyway.
Well, I'll tell you, I will lose some respect if this girl gets hired down here. That's all I have to say is you can't be an attorney and be an assistant district attorney and be the one who's enforcing the law. And I don't care if you're drunk or not, but you're going to tell the police officers that you're going to ruin their career by putting them on the Brady list, which is laughable because Plymouth County never puts anybody on the Brady list.
I think in New Hampshire it's called the Lori list.
Is it?
But it's for mostly for like police officers that lie, or have been terminated with cause, whatnot. They end up on the Lori list if they've had some sort of discipline. And I know in New Hampshire there's been a big lawsuit because a lot of like the local newspapers sued the state and the state police, and mostly the state Attorney General's office, I think, that maintained this Lori list because they wanted the names of the officers made public, because before all they did was say what town.
Well, this is supposed to be public. So if you Freedom of Information Act, who's on the Brady list, they're supposed to release it.
Yeah,
But
they
wait until they've been arrested and convicted, and then they put them on the list. But it's too late then.
Well, these are officers that they're still certified officers. They've actually gone on to other departments, or if it was egregious, obviously they're no longer they lost a sort of certification as a police officer. But they they've said that it doesn't make sense if you only have the department where it happened and you don't have any description of why and you don't have any knowledge of who. Even police departments, obviously, when chiefs, when they do the background checks, it's obviously going to come up and whatnot because they give the whole folder. And usually they sign a release that says that they can look at any and all files, one would hope. But then again, it could be similar if they resign, similar to teachers and parish priests and whatnot. If they resign and they go on elsewhere and people don't know, that's a huge problem.
Well, this is just crazy. I mean, you're going to assault your domestic partner.
Have you ever tased someone with a smile on your face? I've always been curious about this.
I know. I never had a chance to tase anybody.
What?
By the time I got the taser, I think I had been promoted to lieutenant. I had to reluctantly carry it. And the thing is, it was such a, I forget what the exact rule was. It was, you can't leave it in your cruiser, but you're not supposed to, I forget what it was. And then you had to test it every morning.
What you test it on? How do you come here?
Well, no, not on a person, but I forget how you even do it. But
can you imagine that? You pissed me off last night, dear.
But here's what I don't get. So as an assistant district attorney, that a report's going to be written, and you should have the understanding that.
Yeah.
I don't know if the constable has a video. I don't know if they have cameras or not.
Well, let's talk about this, okay? Why don't? Because I know here in New Hampshire, the state police finally got a grant where the majority of them have cameras within this past year or so. Our department's had cameras for, 3-4 years. The body cams. I mean, but obviously it's important that they have the policy, and the policy in our town is the second you get out of the vehicle, your camera goes on. It's been a lot of, it works for the police officer, but it also works for the incident,
Well, what it works against is, and I'm sure legislatures have found this out. David LaBeouf, who I think he drove on, 3 wheels and 1 wheel and 3 rims for a while after coming back from a quote vote, that the camera's on. The downside of it is that you can't have a phone call. You can't call your wife. Everything you do is reported. There's a lack of privacy there. And, I used to like to sing in the car every once in a while and drive down.
Well, no, this is I think I'm talking more of the body cam.
That's what I mean. The
body cam goes on in our department. I think the policy for the body cam goes on when you're at a scene or something like that. Like if you have to get out of the cruiser.
It's what I understand. It's always on and allegedly not recording. But what it turned into is, my understanding is, this police administration under Chris Mason and Scott Warmington has been some of the lesser tolerated administrations, because they use the cameras and the GPS locators to discipline certain people. So if you leave your driveway at 7:03, why did you leave your driveway at 7:03? Where someone who, may work in a detective unit doesn't have to turn the GPS on. So it was never agreed upon in the bargaining agreement before they ended up having to wear the body cam. So I think it's great when it works for the, obviously for the police officer. I'm sure it's right on a lot of complaints. But I just love that she's on the phone and the police officers say to her, because she goes back into the house, this was before she was tased, and she's supposedly gathering her things, but she's not. She goes to the bedroom and she says that she's talking to one of, quote, her detectives. Oh. So obviously one of her detectives from the Plymouth County.
What did she think that they were going to do? The good old boy handshake phone call and say, hey.
Well, I mean, you can't do that anymore because everything is recorded on the body cam, if in fact they had body cams on. But she's 33 years old, so she's not a 24-year-old newly out of college in a Girls Gone Wild video. She's supposed to be above this sort of fray and don't you know who I am? And we used to get this kind of attitude from some of the attorneys that worked in the Attorney General's office. I don't know why, but a lot of them were egotistical above their capacity.
Like, don't you know who I am?
Right.
Well,
so,
if they did have body cams, that should be available.
Well, I don't know if they do. And this
Well,
was from,
you know, it won't.
from Hyannis News.
It probably won't be available until it's adjudicated. A lot of times they won't, unless they decide to release it for public information. But a lot of times, if it's used in a case, they might not release it, right? I don't know.
I'm not sure because it's so new that I had already retired once this had been, once it had been in place. So,
well, I don't. What you mean, like when you put the lights on when you're late for your hair appointment?
Carol. But what I'm saying is, you should know first of all that everything that you say is going to be written down. I mean, these people just don't know who she is, and even if they did know who she was, this sort of thing, used to go on a long time ago, where you would, oh, someone's a good guy, I did the right thing, and I said, well, you could do that a long time ago if someone was, you want to help somebody out at risking your career. But now when someone says, I did the right thing, I said, absolutely not, you did not. I said, your problem was you wanted everybody to know that you did the right thing. So you called on the radio. You said that he was drunk. You tried to call his chief. That phone call is recorded. Use your head. And she's going to have to go to a detox. I mean, that's the only way I see her having any kind of mea culpa. Because can you see her doing a domestic assault and battery case and the defense attorney saying, so
she wouldn't be able to.
You beat up your girlfriend.
Well, and by rights, they have to follow the law. The who they consider the aggressor has to be removed from the situation, right? I mean, isn't that the way it normally works?
It's preference to arrest. I don't know that it's specifically mandated, but it's preference. What I'd like to know is, did she take the breathalyzer when I just want to know how drunk she was. That's what
I wouldn't. If she wouldn't get in the darn cruiser and they had a taser, I'm kind of thinking she might not have done the breathalyzer.
She's not a little girl. I mean,
so
she's not.
She'd be the one that we'd mouth off to, and then we'd be like, "We're running."
Well, she said she's between 240 and 250 pounds. She's more of a rugby player than she is. Her LinkedIn profile said that she was a cross country. I'm like, a cross country runner?
Cross country, I don't know, testing out the alcoholic beverages, maybe.
Well, so now, of course, you have to go back to St. A's and see how many girls she punched in the face when she was in college.
Oh, she went to St. A's?
She went to St. A's.
How old is she?
She went to, let me see, in her LinkedIn profile, she said that she went to law school part-time for 3 years, and then the last year she went full-time, which seems like a long time. She was a substitute teacher in Sandwich for a short amount of time, and I wrongly asked one of my friends, I said, did your twins ever have her as a teacher? She worked there for 2011 and 2012. My kids were born in 2010. I'm like, oh my God. I have no sense of time anymore, with my kids. Gone. So I mean, she's not a dumb person. It seems like she maybe has an alcohol problem. I mean, she worked at the district attorney's office in 2020. She was a full-time law. So 2014 to 2019, she attended law school. But it looks like she was in the honors program, Delta Epsilon Sigma, women's varsity cross country, honors degree. Honors program, Dean's List, 6 out of the 8
obviously did not learn how to control her temper. Her attitude.
And the alcohol has a lot to do with it too.
Yeah, but when the attitude comes out, that's your attitude. I
just can't be involved with someone who has an addiction like that. I mean, it's so hard to build a life with someone who's going to, drink and drive and potentially, kill someone, if not in a domestic dispute. I feel bad for the people that suffer with that. I feel the sympathy for the families and the friends as well. That's why I've always been an advocate for, different modalities for addiction, because it's a life ruiner. I mean, and it ruins everybody else's life.
Yeah. It's hard.
It's kind of like my shoe addiction that I had a number of years ago. only Oxfords, because I can't wear heels. So
Daralyn,
I love the Cole
I'm
Haans.
literally
I
crying.
love the Cole Haans. I tell you, I love a pair of saddle shoes. I don't care if they are in style, out of style. I wear them with sweatpants, jeans, shorts. I don't care. I love them.
Saddle shoes?
I love them. I don't know. I don't know.
I'm crying inside right now.
Speaking of saddle shoes, how about Sam Brinton? Did I say Brinton? Brinton. Arrested for a second time.
I mean,
so this is this oddest. To me, this is just the oddest.
I want to know why he did not put lipstick on in his mugshot. He had no problem wearing it everywhere else. I'm sorry, but I just need to let you know that when you wear a lipstick shade that color, you really don't need the hair around your face. I'm just saying, some of these outfits are just. But Daralyn, did you read about his lifestyle?
Yes.
Okay. This is concerning to me because it kind of is like tying in all of this craziness that's going on. What do they call BDM? I don't even know any of that stuff, that I would admit to. No, I'm just kidding. That's a joke, everybody.
We all know better. You can quit pretending.
We're not calling you Diane Quivers.
Oh, no. But when you think about
what would be your naughty name? What was his drag queen name? It was it was something to do with nuclear energy.
Ew.
Miss nuclear something. I don't know.
Ew.
I know. But the mugshot is concerning, isn't it?
It's concerning when he goes to where I don't know if it was a conference where he had 3 guys dressed as dogs in front of him, and then
I know what is going on. And the thing is, whatever, I mean, if you're not hurting anybody and that's what you like, I don't care. But isn't it better kept a secret? I mean, is that something we really need to be sharing at this point?
I'm not sure that seeing something like that in any way, shape, or form would be, trying to make a person horny. I'm just saying. That's going to be kind of that's a big no.
But, I mean, we know that people
have really? So someone wearing a dog mask going woof woof? Oh, yeah, I want you. Come on.
I don't know. Have I ever told you about the guy Sammy Sultan who threatened to kill me? He had a foot fetish. I would love to have the FBI. He's now retired now. I wonder if he would agree to come on. I don't know if he will because he's very private and very professional. But so Sammy Sultan called the barracks, and I want to say 2000. Well, I don't even remember when it was, but I was a sergeant at the time, and he asked for. I'd like to speak to a female sergeant. I said, I just answered the phone. State Police South Yarmouth, Sergeant Haywood. I mean. I'm with someone and I'm going to hurt them. And I'm like, okay, here we go. First, I want to ask you some questions. I'm like, okay. He goes, what type of slippers do you wear? I'm like, excuse me? So now I think I'm getting punked by one of my friends, calling the barracks and punking me. But we were all in there eating dinner, so I put it on speakerphone. Excuse me, what did you say? I said, I don't wear slippers. Well, if you were going to walk on the beach and the stone was going to get stuck in your toe, which one would it be in? And I was like, who the hell is this? He goes, answer my questions or I'm going to hurt this person. And you could hear you couldn't tell if it was real or, I mean, at the time I was like, okay, this is odd.
odd.
And
Really? I think I would have used a stronger phrase.
Right, we went around for about, we hear everything. So we were around for about 5 minutes. I asked him where he was. I pulled up the map. He said he was in Plymouth. So he'd give the side streets and everything. So we did some good recon. And again, I have no idea who he is, so I hang up on him. Well, he calls back and he goes, Sergeant Haywood, this is Mike Reese from WILD. You have just won. I'm like, weren't you just the stuttering guy that just called me? So I guess you cannot stutter when you kind of sing, when you have more of a singy voice.
I don't know.
So I hung up on him again and he called back, and that's when he's like, I'm gonna kill you, and I'm gonna see you, and you're not gonna see me. I'm gonna come in your house and you see your kids and get this slippers. I was like, whoa. That's when it changed. And so I had him on speaker, and I motioned to one of the guys to call into the headquarters and see if they could track the call. Well, that's when the FBI showed up and the guys from the detective unit that I used to work with. And you've never been to this house, but I have like an 800-foot driveway, and it was February. It was a full moon. There's no leaves on the trees. And I called my husband, OG. I'm like, can you wait in the kitchen for me? This guy threatened to kill me. He's like, until 11:30. I go, did you not hear the part where I said this guy threatened to kill me? It's cold outside. I don't want to get shot and lay in the driveway and be bleeding 10 feet from my door. I mean, that's what I was worried about. Like, I didn't want to be alive and cold and bleeding.
Especially cold.
The cold part. Like, I can just picture myself, like, in my full uniform, right, bleeding, laying on the cold slab of rock out here and not being able to yell or scream. So he comes down, but I'll tell you, the hair in the back of my neck, when I started driving down the driveway and the moon's coming through the tree branches with no leaves. And I thought, wow, what a perfect shot someone would have for him. Right? This was going through my head.
Most normal people would be like, it's a picture. Oh my God, that literally scared the daylights out of me.
And of course, I'm driving, and it's 11:30, 12 o'clock. It might have been 1 o'clock at night after I got done being debriefed by everybody. And, I don't know that this guy's in California. I mean, we find out 3 days later that he's in California. Of course, I'm telling my kids I don't want to scare them, but I think my twins were 8 and my daughter was 9 at the time. Lock the doors, don't let anybody in. And you don't want to scare them either. But turns out that he was smoking meth in his parents' basement. And so they went to the U.S. attorney in Massachusetts, and they said, well, he only threatened to kill one trooper. And I was like, okay, whatever. I kind of get that. But what had turned out was this agent was Tim Quinn from the FBI. He was in the Lakeville office. He's retired now, but he tracked this guy down. I guess he had called over, 40,000 police departments, fire departments, ambulance services, always asked for a female. And then he started to escalate. Last year, he called Tufts University and said that he was in the room hiding under a bed.
Oh, geez.
Right. I know. So he's just cuckoo, but he ended up doing like 2 years. So every time he gets out, I get a notice from the federal government because he threatened to kill me. But his name was Sammy Sultan. I wish I had the picture of him, but
Well, we'll have to find it and put it on the red one.
I know. So you just see these things they're so crazy as a police officer. So, I mean, the first thing you should do is shut your mouth if the police come. You don't mouth off, I'm going to call my whatever. And this guy, if I took the wrong luggage, it was a mistake because my clothes were in there. What?
How could his clothes be in there? It wasn't his luggage.
So I'm thinking, so what does he do? Does he go to the airport, right? And he's like checking out women. Oh, she's a size 12. I bet she wears a 14 heel. Let me check out her luggage.
14 heel.
All right, so I'll tell you one other little cuckoo story. I think people like these kind of crazy stories, but I had this one death, and I was pregnant at the time, and my supervisor was like, I kind of goofing around, like, I don't know what this is. You've been a detective longer than me. Why don't you go in there and take a look? I go, does it smell? Because you know I'm pregnant. If it smells, I don't go in there. He's like, no. It was this shed, and there was mirrors, and it was like a 10 by 12 shed, and there was this room that was cornered off. But prior to going in, so you go into the shed, and I noticed these shoe boxes. And like I said, when you're pregnant, you can't buy anything else. And I would buy shoes or pocketbooks, but these shoes are stacked up to like shoulder level. There must have been like 200 or 300 or 400 pairs of heels, all size 14. This guy was in there, in this room there was O2 and nitrous oxide hanging from the ceiling, and he had a gas mask on his face. He was obviously dead, and had terrible women's lingerie on, but these beautiful pairs, size 14, red, 4-inch stiletto heels. But the garter belt was like something a nurse would wear in the 1920s, like beige, like ugly. And then this really nice, like red thong and this black lacy bra that obviously he didn't have any breasts. So it like just looked ridiculous. But so his girlfriend comes in. Now I had been in narcotics for 10 years. So all I'm thinking is, how am I going to write this up? Because you normally say, I appeared on the scene, blah, blah, blah. I came upon so-and-so, and he was clad in a T-shirt and jeans and had a gun in his left hand. I didn't want to have to describe that because I wasn't sure, what the family knew or didn't know. So the girlfriend comes in, and I'm trying to say, what I want to say is
this his usual attire?
Does he have problems? But what I say to her is, does he have any mental problems? And she goes, well, look at him. I go, I meant, has he been suicidal in the past? She goes, oh, this wasn't a suicide. This was an accident. He does this all the time.
What? Oh.
So
is it one of those like...
There you go.
Oh, that's weird. No, I'm here.
I don't know if anybody else can hear me, but...
I can hear you. Can you hear me?
I seem to be here by myself.
No, you're not.
Rick?
Hello?
Are you there? Can you guys hear me?
Yeah, I can hear you and I can hear her. I don't know why she can't hear us because she's still coming through.
Oh.
But I think she might be gone now.
Oh. Are we on the air still?
Yeah, we are.
Gosh darn it, that was very interesting stuff.
I don't know where she went.
Are you trying to bring her back?
Yeah, hang on. I'm going to try dropping her and bring her back. It actually still shows that she's on the call. So let me kick her out.
I mean, I don't know about all you guys out there, but...
Let me kick her out.
Make sure that if you're going to accidentally die, make sure your outfit matches and is not necessarily the wrong gender.
Hello?
Hello.
Hi.
Can you hear us now?
I don't know what happened.
I heard everything you said.
Yeah, we were hearing you just fine. You just couldn't hear us. So I kicked you out and added you back.
Yeah. So I just said that if you're going to knock yourself off, even by accident, just make sure you're wearing the proper outfit. Isn't that the old thing that your mom used to say? You want to make sure you have clean underwear in case you get killed or you have to go to the hospital.
No, right? Like, that's what you're going to be worried about.
I know. Because it will reflect badly on your mother.
Oh, my gosh. That is just insane. But, as far as what I'm wearing, I have to wait till I open up the suitcase and see what's in there. I mean, how many suitcases does this person have, and what do they do with them?
Well, and that's the interesting part because he had also like $3,000 or somewhere around there worth of someone's jewelry. But he kept just saying, and then he calls up. I can totally picture him going, I might not have been so honest with you. Like, I was a bad boy. Bad, whatever he is.
Spank me.
Do you really need that doggy mask for your canine? Because I'd have better use for it.
Oh my gosh. I just can't even. I can't.
I'm kind of
crazy.
I'm kind of thinking my disclaimer wasn't strong enough for this show.
Well, this is tame if you read his description of things that he's been doing.
Holy moly. I read that and I was like, oh shit. There are people out there that are like that.
Well, and just the fact that they thought it was okay to hire this person. I mean,
Well, he fit all the boxes.
But he's crazy. He's a thief. He's a klepto. And I understand this is a fetish. This is a fetish?
I think his whole life is a fetish.
I don't know. I just very, 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 very incompatible with the type of people that he's working with. I mean, did you see, I don't know if you saw, if I sent it to you, the picture of him in the paper on I don't know if it's Epic Times, I'm not really sure. It might even been like Newsmax. But the person behind him, you know, he's all smiles with his red lipstick. And the person behind him is obviously security. He's got this look on his face like,
yeah, I mean, imagine having to be his security. They'd be like, oh,
right. Can you hold my pocketbook? Oh, it fell out.
Excuse me, I have to go pet this dog. He identifies as a dog. Oh, the fun things we can do, but I'm not into bestiality, I promise. But I can be a beast.
You can just like, you can't, like we used to say, me and a friend of mine, Cam, you can't make this shit up. You just cannot make it up. So then it makes me wonder, like, what else are they hiding of people who are really like insane? I mean, I don't get it. And it goes back to trying to normalize pedophilia.
Yep.
Which is really disgusting. And this is the Citizens for Responsible Education, I think, in Massachusetts. And they're so upset about these, you know, they call them drag queens. And I said, listen, just call them what they are. They're men in dresses that want to twerk half naked in front of children. Stop calling them drag queens, because it's an insult to drag queens. I love a good drag queen show, you know, just as much as everybody. I go down to P-Town a lot. I love it down there. But it shouldn't take place in a children's library. And I think you have to focus more on the behavior and not the orientation.
I had a theory. You know, I was thinking about this the other day because I'm like, what's behind? And it's similar to, you know, when I wondered why liberals were so crazy when Donald Trump won, because it wasn't a normal reaction for 3-4 years, however long. I mean, they were really insane. So now I wonder what's behind this latest push to, you know, for transgenders, you know, puberty blockers, whatnot. What's behind the latest push? And then it boils down in my mind to lowering the age of consent. And then who's behind it? Well, I'll tell you who I think is behind it, because in the past few years, the LGBTQ community has really, I want to say, and it's not the LGB community,
That's what
it's the QT community.
Right.
Because,
and they kind of hijack.
Because what I feel like it is because they put themselves onto the letter group. Okay. So now you have,
they stole it though. They hijacked it.
Yeah. But now you have this other group that are pedophiles that are trying to also latch onto it. So I said to myself, what could be behind this, you know, big push and nationwide, you know, where basically the transgender queer community is, I'll say it, marginalizing. I don't either. But they're marginalizing the lesbian, gay, and bisexual group. You don't hear anything about them anymore, really.
Right.
But who's behind it and who stands to benefit if you normalize and lower the age of consent? Who would benefit from it? It would be all these big, like Jeffrey Epstein people, the powerful ones that like the kids, that it's called payback. And the payback is, we're going to get the word out and we're going to normalize this when it comes to the kids, because if you can't, you know, what they're using, and I was shocked when I actually read it, what they're using for the puberty blockers is the same thing that causes the chemical castration in prisoners. And we're giving this, and we have doctors that are saying it's okay to give to kids. It's not okay to give to kids.
Well, here's what happens. In William Peters, who ran for state rep in the 1st District here in Barnstable, said it. He studied viruses at Johns Hopkins. He also, I'm trying to remember he was at University of Alabama, and he was at Princeton, I believe. But those people are bullied just like everyone else. The medical community is bullied as well. Now, I haven't had this at my pediatrician, but a friend of mine called me absolutely outraged the other day that she called to make an appointment for her daughter who's at boarding school. She's a really good athlete. She's at boarding school. And she was making an appointment. And they said to the mother, well, we can't give you the link. Your daughter's going to have to call in. She's like, my daughter's 13 and you can give me the link and I will text it to her. We're not allowed to do that. You don't need to know the physical schedule, blah, 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 of who your daughter sees. And she's like, what? I said, you need to immediately find a new pediatrician.
Oh, yeah.
But what they're trying to do is they're trying to say that if you say that a child can make their own medical decisions at 12, that you're saying that they have autonomy over their body and that they can make their own decisions on their body. And in France, you can have sex with a minor as long as you're not more than 10 years older than them. So a 24-year-old can have sex with a 14-year-old. It's just...
Well, how about a 20-year-old with a 10-year-old?
It's disgusting. It's disgusting because it ruins kids. I've had cases where a father had sex with 4 of his daughters and had children with them and then molested his grandchildren/children.
Jesus.
And they didn't want to be seen as victims. And when they allowed him to watch their kids, his grandkids, their actual kid, you know what I mean? It's gross.
Yeah.
When I went to them and said this happened, they said, well, I didn't think that he would do it to my child. I go, you mean his child? Just like he did to you. And it's, it's extremely damaging. And these parents that are taking their kids to the library to see this, I can only imagine that, it's like having a, I don't know, what's a good pocketbook? You're a pocketbook queen.
Louis Vuitton.
Like
Fendi.
having a Louis Vuitton, I have a Louis Vuitton. Well, I take my child to drag queen shows. I'm so cool.
And the thing is they're so choosy in public libraries, obviously, about what goes in there. And it's you know what, you want to have drag queens there, fine. But what's the purpose? What is the purpose behind having it? Are you reading them the books that, might not be appropriate for a child that age that a parent should be reading?
Put it this way. If I went down there and took my clothes off and started to twerk in front of a bunch of kids, what do you think would happen to me?
You'd be arrested.
Of course I would.
Of course, the other people watching it might be like, what the hell?
I might make some money. Throw me some dollars.
But here's the thing. And this goes right to your competitor down the Cape. Mm-hmm. We now have in Nantucket more nude beaches. Fine and dandy if you want to sit there and see that. And I should say Martha's Vineyard, right?
Nude beaches.
But
in Nantucket,
but not Nantucket.
Beaches.
They're it's like everybody can go topless there. Really? Well, I can assure you that you probably wouldn't want to see these south hanging left and right. I mean, they're saying, oh, it's okay. Everybody will be topless because men will be topless.
Well, what they're calling it is gender equity. And, although...
Yeah, so now you're going to have, teen boys, teen girls. You're going to have old fuddy-duddies checking out the teen girls if they decide to go topless.
Taking pictures. Now you're, people come over from, whatever, they come from France or whatever. But, I mean, first of all, and that's the thing with some of these people, they're just so cuckoo that they're like, it's fine for my daughter to be topless. I'm like, there's going to be strangers taking a picture of her and posting them on sites.
Uh-huh.
And then your daughter's going to go to college and she's going to find out that she's been on 5 million porn sites.
Yeah, probably.
And the woman who started this, I don't remember her name and I don't want to give her any credit anyways, but she's like a sex coach.
I always wondered what type of person needs a sex coach.
I don't know. Who knows? I don't even know anymore. I don't even know.
I mean,
round hole, square peg. Nope. I don't know. anything goes now. It's, I was mortified.
There's no boundaries anymore.
I was mortified when Tinder came out. I was like, so you go online and you swipe some, and then you go
You have to swipe right.
And of course, I'm thinking, what if they kill you? How do you know they're not? You know what I mean? Because
always meet in a public place and always keep full view of your drink. And if you go to the bathroom, order a new one.
I mean, this is just so weird. Like, so you meet a total stranger and you go have sex with them. And I understand you've already promised sex, so that's okay. But what if they want to kill you afterwards?
Like that person in Provincetown.
Oh my gosh. Oh, that poor guy. I just can picture someone trying to cut somebody's arm off with a buck knife.
I shouldn't laugh about it, but
I know. Man, damn, this is hard work. I'm going to go get a drink and tell everybody. That's when I first learned about, I don't think it was called Grindr then. I don't know what it was called, but that was my
introduction.
Oh, great. Provincetown cop that I'm still friends with. And he just gave myself and another trooper, Carol, that I worked with, he gave us the whole down low on the whole scene. And, I just had my eyes open because it was my first gay domestic too. And I was just, one guy slapping the other guy and calling him a bitch. And then the other, I don't know, it was just, I didn't know what to do. It was just so out of we didn't learn that in the academy in 1993,
Yeah.
So
yeah.
I didn't know that those gay relationships can be so volatile.
Yeah, they actually can be.
I mean,
they can be. I mean, we have.
Kathleen Flanagan hasn't been around a couple volatile relationships.
We used to during summer months because there's a couple that live a couple houses down during the summer. They'd be getting in some pretty good screaming matches. I'd be like, well, who the hell? Who's gonna win that one?
Oh,
whatever.
Luckily, we live, we have about 4 and a quarter acres here, and I don't think anybody can hear us yell. So that's a good and a bad. Oh my gosh, I didn't tell you this. So my niece just turned 7 or 6, and I birthed her in my sister's home totally by accident. And her name's Quinn. And my sister, who's 16 years younger than me, used to always buy my kids really noisy toys. And you know how I hate that. I hate that. Like, too much going on. I'm really ADD. I can't have like a conversation and the TV and the radio and the tea pot going off. It makes me crazy. I bought them at Ocean State Job Lot. $24, the best $24 I ever spent. It's a megaphone that takes 8 D batteries. Mom, can I have some milk?
Has she called you up to yell yet?
No, but my brother-in-law grabbed it. He goes, that thing's going in the trash. I'm like, you never know. It might come in handy. You're on the boat. You're out fishing. The engine dies. You might be reaching for those D batteries and the big one. So,
sometimes you just got to sit there and pay them back.
Well, what I used to do.
I used to call them the noise toys. I don't like noise toys.
Well, that was my sister. She's 16 years younger than me. She's my mother's third husband. So she grew up in a totally different environment. Private school, Cape Cod Academy was like $14,000 to go to kindergarten.
Oh, geez.
And I love her to death, but she doesn't know what compound interest is. And when I told her I was running for Senate, she's like, I'll vote for you, but I really don't know what a senator does. I'm like, are you registered to vote?
It's amazing how much the kids don't know. And that's, again, we gotta really push making civics mandatory to graduate.
Well, I went to the Chatham Republican town committee meeting on Monday, and those people were really good to me when I was running, and we talked about, what do we need to do as Republicans to kind of pull this together? And I was telling them that you and I spoke on our last show. I actually gave them the link and told them there's 4.7 million voters in Massachusetts, but only 540,000 of them are registered Republicans.
And only the same amount pretty much are registered Democrats.
Well, I think it's a 1.7 million are registered Democrats, and like I think another 2 million are unenrolled.
But think about that. That goes right along the line of how New Hampshire is. I mean, it's literally 30% enrolled Democrats and 30% enrolled Republicans, and then you got the 40% that can swing the whole state either way.
Now, what do you have as far? You have no income tax, or
no income tax, no sales tax.
But what about the? Are you getting rid of a tax on dividends? Like if you have stocks, I think by 2027 you'll get rid of that.
I haven't heard that they're going to be getting rid of it, but I mean that's one way that the state makes income. Also, the business enterprise tax from businesses, but we've and of course it's a killer, but property taxes are high.
They are. Okay, what's your like? I have 4.25 acres here, and I think my property tax is like $5,500 a year.
And I pretty much pay that, and I don't even have a full acre. Wow. But it varies. It varies by, like, for example, Alton, which is the town next to where I am. But they have the whole basin of Lake Winnipesaukee, so you have $1 million homes that are on the lake. So you have the homeowners, you have businesses that are there, so you can end up with a tax rate of say $12 per per thousand, let's say, of the home. So you might only pay like $1,100 in taxes, let's just say.
Okay.
And our town, we have nothing. We have 2 post offices, which is a miracle. No banks, no nothing. Our tax rate is like $20-something. And that funds the schools, it funds the towns, and it's on the back.
What's your electorate in that town? Does it go by town or county or district, just like us?
Electorate? In my area, it's 2-to-1 Republican to Democrat.
And have you seen or heard of General Bolduc or Caroline Leavitt?
I have not seen them yet. Carolyn Leavitt, no one's heard from her at all. I haven't heard a peep out of her or Don Bolduc.
Well, I have a friend who is friends with her campaign manager. I spoke to her. Lorraine Cambria met her at CPAC last year, and I did speak to her in April or May or so. Very accommodating. Real nice person. I woke her up. She was in Arizona, so there was a time difference, which I felt terrible about. But I'm going to reach out to them, and I'd love to know what their next plans are.
Well, yeah, are they going to run again in 2024? If they are going to run again, I'd suggest any candidate that's going to start running now.
How much money did she raise? Do we know?
She had a fair chunk of change. I mean, millions easily, but a lot of it was out of state money.
Well, I mean, she worked for Trump.
And I think, and honestly, yeah, and honestly, he may have endorsed her, but it wasn't really out in the forefront in the state.
Really?
Yeah. I mean, being on the ground and everything, no one said, "Oh my God, I got to vote for Caroline Leavitt because Donald Trump is supporting her." But
right.
And I think as far as Donald Trump goes, like I said, if he's the candidate, I will support him. Very displeased about his comments when it came to the Constitution. You don't mess with the Constitution. I don't give a shit.
Well, it's funny you should say that, because earlier today I had been just, doing a little bit of research for our next show. And there was this woman, oh gosh, I wish I could remember her name. She was the press secretary for Mike Pence. Do you remember her name? Unfortunately, she's now on The View, which I just want to poke myself in the eye.
Oh God, she's one of those too. Anna, nope, can't remember their names.
Oh,
Farrah something or other.
Yes. Her middle name is Farrah. You imagine if I went by Daralyn Andrea Haywood all the time? I just put in my middle name all the time.
Mine would be Diane Marie Juliana.
Oh, really? I didn't even know that.
That was my confirmation name because I was into the flowery, like Felicia Juliana names.
Well, it's so funny because typically when people badmouth Trump, it's with this extreme vitriol. But I have to say that she's a little bit full of herself, but she was a great speaker. And even though she was saying kind of naughty things, I wasn't heavily offended because I respected the way she said it. Does that make sense?
But she also says some pretty crappy shit too, though. So, but she does stand up for the Republican Party when they pile on her. But I don't even know who's
Alyssa Farah Griffin.
Yeah, but we need to decide what and I'm gonna reach out to Michael Johns. I want to get him on the show because he was one of the original founders of like the Tea Party movement, because that really is the last time Republicans really united and got excited about getting out to vote. And I think we need to do something like that again for 2024. And it's going to be parental rights and save our kids. Because if we don't, the path, there's no, and I know we're pretty much at the end of our show, so we'll have to continue this on our next one. But, we need to save families. We need to get some morals back because they're gone. It's like it's an anything goes lifestyle now. And it's not anything goes.
It's our morals aren't necessarily gone, but people
I don't have a lot of morals, but sometimes they do show up.
Here's my morals. I really like cake bread, Merlot, and Cabernet. But if I really had to, I would drink a $14 bottle of wine. And that's where my wine morals go. As far as anything,
I drink like a 14-bottle Riesling. I was so proud of myself. I'm 30-something and I'm finally drinking wine. I used to look at all these people going, they look so elegant drinking wine, but I don't like it. I'd be there with my Bacardi and Coke or whatever. But now I'm drinking Riesling.
Oh, it's so funny. But
just to tell you guys one time in the future about, the wine tasting I went with my husband, and yeah.
Well, we'll have to talk about that for sure. I think we should have a red wine tasting.
No, I don't. Well, yes.
I think Rick should pay for it.
Rick!
You funny.
And my glass of red wine is really, really large.
As long as you guys don't mind tasting, as long as you guys don't mind tasting wine that comes in a box, I'm down for paying for it.
Oh, you might as well just give me a straw then. Who needs a glass?
Anyhow, we are at the end of our time, so we will see you after Christmas. So Merry Christmas. We're going to start every week starting after January 1st. So Merry Christmas to everyone. And we hope you have a wonderful time.
Mega MAGA Commander X on soon, and he's a very secret person. But I just want to give that a little bit of a teaser that we have a very super special MAGA guest that will be coming on sometime in January, February.
Yes, we do. Stay tuned. Merry Christmas, everybody.
Merry Christmas.